You're all very keen to hear how you can maximise your opportunities and sell more beer. So I will introduce the panel facilitator, Evin Craney from Bright Brewing Company, to introduce the rest of his panel.
First up, we got Nick Murphy, who's Category Buying Manager for Liquorland and First Choice. Next to him is Baird, who is the Category Buying Manager for VC. Knox, who is the Lead Sourcing Manager. And then we've got Nick McArdle with the big title of Head of Beer.
Probably the best title in the world. Right?
Yeah, he's got the simplest one. So guys, the purpose of today is just to give everybody in the room a bit of an overview of, I guess, the CLG strategy, how to work with them best, and really what they're doing with indie beer and to support the IBA and its members. So we're going to kick off with Nick McArdle, and we're going to ask him to start with giving an overview of the local strategy and how it integrates with the IBA members.
Beautiful. So firstly, thanks everyone for taking the time out of your days to come and check this out. We were a little bit nervous that there'd be no one in the crowd. We had to go to the rent crowd option, but we got a good turnout. So thanks very much for spending the time. From a Coles liquor perspective, our overall vision is all about being a locally relevant, accessible drink specialist for all our customers across Australia, and that ties really nicely into our local strategy. So probably three key things that come out of that. So locally relevant when it comes to craft beer is all about the right range and the right store. We know how parochial the craft beer world is, especially. So we look at the right range and the right store in the right state. So we really go around heroing the craft beer brands in the relevant state, but also the right range and the right store. So we've got 900 stores across Australia, across Liquorland, First Choice Liquor Market and VC. And obviously there's lots of breweries that are opening up all over Australia. So with that footprint, we also want to ensure that we do offer that right range for customers that are near one of those smaller breweries. So they walk into the brewery and they know they can walk into a Coles liquor shop and be able to pick up that range. So a real focus on that right range, that right store. The second piece is just accessibility for our customers as well. So accessibility played through two things. So we've gone through a significant reset in our Liquorland stores. So you might have seen the old red and yellow Liquorland fleets have now become the black and white fleets, which have been a real success. But what we've done through that is actually expand our craft beer range significantly. So more often than not in those stores, you'll see 2 to 3 more bays of craft beer that comes through that space. And we'll also talk to local in the right way. So you walk into a Victorian brewery and Victorian fridges will be the first ones that you see when you walk into our stores, or you walk into a Queensland Liquorland First Choice VC and you see those Queensland breweries as the first one. So making sure that craft beer and local beers is really accessible for our customers. The second one, and we had a really good conversation this morning around e-commerce and the role that e-com is playing in the world of marketing. We've got a really great platform in Coles across online through obviously our websites and our across all 3 banners, but also through our on-demand channels through Uber Eats and DoorDash, etc., which is showing great signs. So really being accessible and giving that option for all our customers in that space to drive local. And then finally, being craft specialists is a real key as well. So we've got 5,000 team members across our network that are all really passionate about craft beer. So ensuring that we give them the right tools and expertise to be able to sell to all our customers that come through the door. And obviously, as a broader beer team, being a part of things like this in the industry has been amazing. We partner with Gabs Festival. We're in the second year of a 3-year deal with Gabs as a platinum sponsor, which is really exciting, and we'll hopefully look to expand that. Jay is probably going to chat through the VC Best Of, which really encapsulates a lot of the craft brewers around Australia. We've seen great success there. So becoming great drink specialists and craft beer specialists in that space as well.
Yeah, nice. And sort of looking at what you guys have been doing the past probably 18 months or 2 years, and even the last 6 months, there's been a pretty heavy focus on local strategy.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit more to members in the room around what's the reason for the focus on that, and how does it best sort of integrate IBA members and benefit them?
Yeah. So probably pre-COVID, we started to see a real shift into people supporting local. And I think when we started, I mentioned the transformation that went on in the Liquorland Black and Whites. We really doubled down on creating more space for craft beer and craft distilleries and wineries, etc. So it was a real focus for us as a business, but craft beer in particular, we really doubled down at that time. We saw amazing growth through that space, and I think it's just purely through the great products that people love in each of their states. I mentioned how parochial people are, but we saw that we were getting new customers in and they were loving it and they continued to come back. So we saw great success there and wanted to carry on with it. I mentioned the accessibility piece, so the more and more stuff that we are doing for the IBA now, next week we're actually launching the IBA seal that will go onto all our channels through the e-com, which is really exciting. One that we've been trying to get up for a couple of months now, and now it's flowing through, which is really exciting. So everyone will see that you've got the IBA seal of approval across all our craft ranges, but that will also flow through in other channels such as I mentioned Uber Eats, which is massive for us now. So the right products in the right states will have that accessibility through those channels as well. So a really great way to shout about it. And then probably the other one, which is worth touching on with a great opportunity for our IBA members, is we've got this thing called the Nurture Fund, which every single year we basically send out some requests to hear about what different businesses across our total Coles group, so including supermarkets, what are some small businesses doing when it comes to sustainability initiatives, and leveraging partners like you guys, and obviously through Coles and the doors that we do have to open, looking to invest and provide some support to follow and support you guys into those sustainable initiatives. So we'd love to, when we go through the next round of submissions for that, we'd love to hear from more brewers out there on what you guys are doing when it comes to sustainability and look to partner in that space.
Yeah, nice. And congratulations, McArdle. You were pretty quick on that. Behind the scenes,
there
was a bit of worry that he was going to
talk. So
he's going to take 45 minutes on just that. That wasn't too bad. I'm going to jump over to Nick Murphy to my left here. So Nick, Category Buying Manager for Craft Beer, Liquorland, First Choice. Can you give a bit of insight to everyone on the local neighbourhood ranging in Liquorland?
Yeah, so I might try to keep it briefer than McArdle's, but and yeah, essentially, so what we've sort of been doing, I'll answer this in two parts. One is just around local and what we call state-based ranging. So through the upcoming September range review, over 80% of the products that we're bringing in across beer will be from local independent breweries. So we've put a significant focus previously in March, but also in the September review on getting our state-based ranging right. And that obviously is partnering with you guys and a number of other breweries that aren't in the room today to get that offer right for our customers. So that's probably point one. The second one is just around then we want to try and trade more locally relevant and hyper local as well with that. So what we've then gone and done is we've created a neighbourhood flex space in over 64% of the black and white stores that McArdle spoke about. So we've got then on the top shelf in that example there, the ability for them to trade. So we give the autonomy to the store manager and they've got a range list of products that essentially they can choose from, close proximity, 5, 10, 20 kilometres from the breweries. And this is where then, it's an open invite for you guys to get involved in this program and how do we become more locally relevant is through doing that. So that's another big opportunity for us. The other point I'd probably just touch on is just around the execution in store. So as you can sort of see in that far left example there, the fridge execution, what we're trying to do is really highlight that state-based ranging. So in each of the states, you'll see signage that says, New South Wales breweries or Queensland breweries. To put that into context as to where we're landing in September, a Queensland store that might have 3 doors of craft beer fridges, there will be 2 of those 3 doors that will be state-based local breweries. So it's a massive step on for us to go after this, and we've really seen the success and the feedback from customers as a result of that. So yeah, I think with the IBA partnership as well, how do you guys get further involved is through reaching out with us and we can work with you on what that looks like for your particular breweries.
Yeah, nice. And you've also got First Choice Craft Beer Month. Can you give a bit of an overview to that and also best way for members to get involved?
Yeah, so it's a celebration of all the amazing work that you guys are doing in the industry. It's in line with when we're now the platinum partner that McArdle spoke about for the GABS Hottest 100 countdown. So in January and February each year, we do a full store takeover of First Choice liquor markets nationally. And what that looks like at the top, where's the Black Flag example where they've gone and built a lot of the products. So we've got a whole suite of different opportunities for each of the different suppliers. We've shifted that focus from a really national lens on what we were doing to more of a state-based approach. And, there's a lot of activity happening. We talk to that through all of our omni-channel that McArdle spoke about before through Uber Eats, DoorDash, and it's really our time to shine and in line with, the GABS recent partnership and then we've also got the beer cartel as well that's now come on board with us. So there's a lot of opportunity. It's all about in-store execution and how do we really hero your products in our stores. So again, the ask is for you guys and to get involved and speak to us around what that could look like for you. And that piece around the neighbourhood ranging and in your local first choice stores in close proximity to your brewery, would love to see what that looks like for you guys. So
yeah, awesome. McArdle mentioned that you guys are now implementing the Indie Seal across channels, and as well as that, you've taken some partnership with the Indie Awards this year. Can you speak a little bit more in terms of what that means for members? I know there's some good things that sort of come out of the Indie Awards for you guys as well, and yeah.
Yeah, so I think probably the big one for me is actually getting the database from these guys is probably the first point. We now know who you all are and what your roles are and your numbers and emails, which we've got 213 different suppliers that we currently range from different breweries, and that's you've got 440 odd members. So there's a lot of gap in between what we currently have in our stores and then obviously opportunities like this. It's the first time we've been asked to speak at events like this. So I think there's a lot of work that we can be doing collectively to obviously have a common goal and driving local sales and driving local breweries. And we understand at the moment that at times are tough for you guys. So we do encourage you to reach out to us. Sometimes we are slightly slow to respond on things, but we've got a number of team members that can support. We've got a local team that supports Jay and myself and others. So yeah, we do actively encourage that you reach out to us because we can lean in and support your businesses.
Yeah, and as a supplier, I'll back the fact that if you just call Nick incessantly, he eventually picks up.
Please text me, don't call me.
Always set an agenda is what I've learned. All right, so we're going to just jump over to Jay, category buyer at VC. VC, obviously, slightly different channel to First Choice Liquorland. Can you just give a bit of an overview around the strategy for craft beer for those stores?
Yeah, absolutely. So it does play into the same agenda as what we've got in the First Choice Liquorland stores. However, we are a lot less governed by red tape in VC. We're allowed to trial a lot more things on a lot smaller of a scale because we do have a lot less stores across the country. We take in a lot of limited release experimental products and see if they work. We were able to trial things like the local store takeover that we rolled out last year that's proved a huge success. Murph's now stolen that idea and taken it in to First Choice from next month. So yeah, we work to the main strategy of CLG, but we've just got a little bit more of wiggle room in our stores.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the Best Of campaign. Can you go speak about that, because that's a massive thing for you guys? I know it's a big undertaking and something you throw a lot of chips behind. So
it really is. So the Best Of Beer Awards we've been running now for 5 years is basically our version of the IBAs or the AIBAs, where we invite all of our craft partners to enter into an awards, a state-based awards now, which we changed last year from a national awards. So last year we hosted 4 events around the country in each state, where we had over 900 beers entered. This was obviously over the 4 states where we had the 4 events, and we tasted over 100 beers each day. Now, Ev was there at the Vic one, so he can attest to how much fun it was and how difficult it was to drink 100 beers in a day.
Really hard work.
We had an unbelievable time up here at Fellons when we had it here in October for Nick and I to get out of Victoria where it's -4. But it's just another success story to partner with independent people like yourselves to actually taste the product. And for us, it's a real sourcing strategy, because we don't have to then go and just look at what you guys are sending on paper. We actually get to taste the products. We actually get to see exactly what we're missing in stores. And the best thing of it is that industry judges actually came to the event and picked the winners. So for us, it gives it a real bit of actual legacy in store to say that we didn't pick it. Nick and I and Nick and Grace, we didn't pick it. It was actually picked by your peers. So out of the 40 winners last year, there were 30 that were absolutely truly local to the States. So for us, when we do a smaller update in the February review, when it goes into store, it actually made that 80% of what we put in was truly local. So it's a really, really good event. We do open up submissions and entries, around about the July mark, because we will start getting on the road in September and October for our judging this year. But now that, as Nick just said, we've got all your names and numbers, we will be reaching out to you for the next one, and hopefully getting way over 900 entries for the next year. Beyond the Best Of campaign, you mentioned that VC
little bit more flexible in trialling some things. I know that you guys do a bit with the local store takeovers. What's the sort of the deal with that? How do members work with that? What's in it for members if they can get involved?
So local store takeovers has proven an opportunity for us to bring in range that's not necessarily inside of a range review or a range update. So we've been reaching out to people who we don't currently range in stores, and that's been guided by our team members. So people on the ground every day in stores in different states where we're not every day have actually asked us, can we range so-and-so from Queensland or so-and-so from WA? And it's really proved pivotal for us to get these brands in. A real case in point, in New South Wales, Nick and I, when we worked together in Vintage Cellars, didn't range Yule's. One of our store managers from Clovelly asked to put Yule's in the store. They now have 4 products in every single VC in New South Wales. So it's a real good sourcing opportunity for us, and stuff that, as category buyers, we get, a lot of interest from people like yourselves. But for people to give it us firsthand on the ground, it's actually a real working point. So with the local store takeovers, it allows us to put in additional products outside of the planograms products, and then it proves a sourcing opportunity for us for when range reviews and updates come into play.
And I think just to build on that, the Yule's point is a really good one. Like, we put that into all of Liquorland and First Choice stores in New South Wales. So they've got now 4 products from 2 stores. So the opportunity is, yes, it's a really hyper-local opportunity initially, but that then feeds into our range review decision making. And another example is Coldstream Hills Brewery in Victoria, and they're very hyper-local in those stores. They performed extremely well. We've then given them the opportunity to put 3 products into First Choice in all of Victoria stores in the recent upcoming reviews. So there is, although it can be a starting position that's quite small in a neighbourhood store, it then opens up further, and the conversation can look at state-based and even potential other state ranging as well.
And it obviously comes down to the suppliers too, to work with you guys and jump on these initiatives when they're there. I know from my end that there's always something to sort of be working on with you guys, having the conversation. For Bright Brewery, we've done a lot with the VC member program. We've been really lucky sort of operating in that space. Jay, do you want to just give a run through of sort of what that looks like, and again, what's the best practice to get involved? Yeah,
and I'll keep this short because I'm conscious that Grace hasn't spoke yet. But the VC Club is something that, if you know the VC business, it was predominantly wine probably 2 years ago, where the memberships were all towards wine. We completely refreshed the program April 2021 to open it up to beer, wine and spirits. So it's something that if you're a member of VC, you can access really extremely good prices in the market every single day. And it's just, trying to really reward loyalty. Currently, we're at penetration of 40% with the aim in FY24 to get up to 45% of all products bought through beer on a member's price. So it's just really for customers, and you guys working closely with us, showing that, that drive to get into customers' hands with price points for rewarding loyalty. So it's a great program. We've got over 300,000 members now, and as I said, we pivoted in April 2021 with 0 beer customers towards it, and now we're at 40%. So it's a program that's working really well, and will continue to.
Thanks, Jay. That was pretty good. You were quick. And now, Grace. So I mentioned before, you're the lead sourcing manager for everything but wine. Is that pretty much
that's pretty much it.
Your very extenuous title.
It's a good role, that one.
It's a big chunky one. Part of your role is looking after the local brewery partnerships. What exactly does that entail?
So with our tinnies range, we really want to partner with IBA members. So you may have seen the amazing range that we have built. As the name kind of suggests, we really want to partner and collaborate on our tinnies collabs. So we're really kind of looking to see over the next 2 years how we can evolve the range with members. Getting involved, please reach out to me. It doesn't need to be a big national program as well. We've got to focus on state and local in this tinnies range.
Yeah, awesome. So one of the other things with you guys is over the past 12 months, members might have seen that there's more opportunities to work with you. This one kind of came as a surprise when we were sort of working through some of the things you can offer. But for those of you who were at Nick Boots' panel earlier, he was talking about capacity and what you can do to sort of fill that if you're not sort of getting through your own tank space.
Yeah.
you guys, there's a possibility to have that discussion around contract brewing with CLG. Can you talk to members about, how they would go about that with you, what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have the opportunity within the contract brewing space, and as we've all kind of spoken about, we know the challenge at the moment in the industry. So, yeah, please reach out. We do a formalised EOI process as part of those contract brewing. So, yeah, make contact with myself. I'm more than happy to organise some time to chat through it.
Yeah, nice. Now, I'm conscious of time, and McArdle took about 45 minutes out. But quickly, we're just going to sort of run through a couple of best practice. I know as a supplier, you're dealing with a lot of independents as well as the majors, and everyone's got different styles of things. As I sort of made a joke before, one of the things I've learnt with Murph is set an agenda. Makes his life easier, makes my life easier as well. I guess sort of just throwing this out to the entire team, what are some of the best practice advice you can give to members for success just within CLG, whether it's sort of in store or cross category?
I think the big one we talk about internally is getting the fundamentals right. So a lot of the time we see what good looks like is they're just getting the basics right, and they're proactive with their time with us. That to put the point before, just setting the agendas. The first 5-10 minutes of every meeting is talking about performance and looking in the review mirror, because a lot of the time you could get into Coles and that's amazing, or other retailers, but then it's actually then how do you drive that at a store level? How do you have that engagement with our team at head office? I look at the supermarket example. I walk in, I love Serena tuna, but if it's not on special, I'm not purchasing because it's so expensive. But when it is, I'll load up the trolley. And it's the same with liquor. How do you then translate and making sure it doesn't always have to be a promotional ticket? It's a yellow ticket, a save statement. How do you then work with our team to drive that and make sure if you've got a product, we're brand blocked in Liquorland and First Choice. If you don't always have to have all 3 on or 4 on or whatever the ranging is, having one on at a certain time to drive consistent sales, I think is really good. But yeah, it's the fundamentals and just getting the basics right. It will really set you up.
Also understanding range reviews. Like, we do have certain periods of time throughout the year where we do review ranging. So just reaching out, getting an understanding of when those range reviews and range updates are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And then my favourite thing to talk about is when you are in, it's making sure that you're driving your agenda in stores, especially for vintage cellars. Nothing really runs through head office in terms of tastings or anything like that. You can literally walk in, book a tasting, and off you go, because we've got, as Nick said, I think 230 suppliers that we deal with. We can't be, saying, yes, you can go in that store and do a tasting. So it's really important that if you've got product in, that you're really driving it. You're up against a lot of, extremely good products in the stores. So making yours stand out with tastings is something that's a real easy win for you guys to do.
Yeah, I was going to say a similar thing. So we got over 5,000 store team members across the 3 banners. So talking about being craft beer specialists, they're the ones at the front line selling your beers. So the more you can go out and engage our store teams and obviously put on tastings and give them some product knowledge, then more likely when customers come in, they're going to remember that and be able to sell your product. So that engagement at the store level is key, but we've also got some internal engagements that we can use with the right content that is all about education and upskilling our team members. So I think obviously the relationship with these guys, if you've got anything that you can provide content about education and upskill our team members, then we're more than happy to hear it.
And Murph, you mentioned when you set the agenda, you're obviously talking about case rates and just reviewing performance. What are some tips and tricks from the other side to be sort of on top of your performance, and what should you be looking at when you're having that discussion? What are the things you want to be discussing and hearing from the supplier?
Well, I think you can definitely, just having the relationship with our assistant buyers that manage the trade plan and the promotional activity. But you guys, if you're direct to store, you still have reads on our store drawers. You know who's ordering and which ones aren't potentially. The same as the DC, you give you access to look at DC drawers. So yes, you can be reliant on our team, and that's great. But also you can be proactive with your approach and looking at that and working as well. Like sometimes, we can send you the top performing stores by state, so you can really target your focus. And if you don't have the reps to hit the ground on all of our stores, which is fair enough, we can be really targeted and give you the direction around which ones are going to give you your biggest, size of prize opportunity. And on the flip side, which ones are the ones that you probably could, if you can get them performing better, it brings your whole average up and run rates up. So I think, yes, there's a lot of accountability on our side to share that data with you and the sales numbers that we get, but also you've got levers that you can pull on your side to address them. Yeah,
awesome. I'm aware there's probably a pretty decent amount of salespeople here that have dealt with you guys in the past and understand the process, but for those that might not, or me 9 years ago. What is a range review and how does it work?
I might throw these guys a bit more structured.
I mean, it is what it says, really. It's a review of the range. So we're currently going through a mass range review at the moment in all banners, where I've changed 165 products, and I'm pretty sure Nick's changed more, given the amount of stores he's got. And it's just a case in point for us to look at products that aren't potentially working, stuff that has worked really well, to put to suppliers and say, this is what's worked, this is what isn't working. We all know at the moment we're seeing people transcend back into value at the moment, and that's craft lagers are really taking the brunt of that at the moment. So we monitor the market, and then we come to you and say, this is what we're looking for. A big thing that Nick and I pushed for this year was different formats in cartons, just to really bring that value to our customers again. So the range review is a major one where we do a lot of change, and then the update is where it's a simply one in, one out, with a maximum of about 15 per state. So we do have a really up and down calendar as to when range reviews land, but for the next one we've got an update in February and then a range review in May or June next year. So after this, we can actually share that calendar with you, just so you guys actually know when we're looking at ranging as well. So, that's kind of where
the guys hate me because I feel like every time I have a conversation with a supplier, I get
You range
10 new
products
SKUs
for us,
ranged
yeah.
for them.
Call McArdle.
Yeah. But I think we're actually quite agile. We're a big business, but we're quite agile. So we do have opportunities for the right SKUs in the right state to pivot pretty quickly and get stuff in and start to talk about it for the right opportunities. Obviously, Jay mentioned limited releases and how that flows through, but assuming that they are the right offers, then we are, and on the right styles and at the right time, really keen to venture those. I'm probably remiss of me to mention, as an example, we've got presenting the Champion IPA tomorrow night, and as part of that, we'll look to range those that winning SKU, if it's not already ranged in first choice, but look to range that SKU in our first choice stores and really celebrate that through all our channels, and obviously get the opportunity for ranging. So it is just one example of how, if we have the right proposition, we can get into our stores really quickly and start to get it on the lips of all our customers.
And the only other thing I'll just say is that as part of now the partnership that we've got with the IBA, again, we've got all your email addresses, so we'll be actively inviting all of you, whereas previously we've only invited the 213 that we had details for. So now we'll be, whether you're interested or not, and that's fine if you're not interested, but we'll be inviting you as part of the range review process when we do land on one. I think that's an exciting opportunity for more people to get involved.
Thanks. I think we somehow managed to wrap this up in the 30 minutes, and I'm going to assume everyone's as thirsty as I am. Guys, thanks for flying up, jumping on the panel. We're not going to do questions because, much to my amazement, all four have said they're happy to speak to anyone that approaches them over the next 2 days.
Yeah, or take a photo, you put it on your fridge, whatever you want to do, but use their email addresses and phone numbers as well. So.
Just want to get a quick round of applause for the guys that are coming up and handing the stage.